Scott, we had our provincial budget come out today. I'm not sure how up to date you are on this, but I will point out the one thing that really stands out, one of many things to be fair, the number of civil servants hired by this government up since they took over, so about 8 years ago, now representing 55% of all the jobs created in the province. And I know this is a concern federally as well. I'm just curious what you make of this.
Well, it is an interesting phenomenon, and it's happening in governments all across the country, as you mentioned. It's certainly happened in the federal government. So COVID forced us to, manage a whole pile of things we hadn't had to manage before. And now we're in this world where, it's the size of the public service has sort of swelled. And I think one of the things that's super interesting about the dynamic in Quebec is that Legault came in, as kind of a private sector champion. And yet, here we are at the very end of his time in office. That's turned out to not be what he is. Really. I mean, I think there's lots of things in history will flatter him about, but at the end of the day, it is still sort of this big government first, public service first dynamic in the province of Quebec. And Legault didn't change that dynamic. I think it changed him. He came into office saying he was going to change it, and I think it kind of turned him around.
It's weird now because the other situation we have, at least in Quebec, is you have a government that's basically on its way out, or the premier who's already resigned. So we're going to find out who the new premier is, literally in a matter of weeks, which of course calls into question just how much of this budget will actually be something the new head, the new premier, will want to keep or get rid of. So it's kind of like, you have a paper with all these new numbers on it, but the new person in office has the right to go ahead and change anything he or she wants.
Well, here's the most interesting thing I think about this budget, which is it actually fully verbalizes what you just said. Like the budget itself says, you know what, we've actually kind of done nothing. We're just going to basically drift, but we're putting some money in reserve for whomever is going to be the next leader, because they got some promises to make, like a $250 million a year line item that just says that future promises go here. And the fact that Gerard said, look, I met with both the leadership candidates, walked them through the budget in great detail in advance. You can see how it's also a political project, which it must be. In its favor, I would say this: it doesn't get in its own way. You didn't have one of these weird vanity budgets. Sometimes you get that from a leader who's on his way out the door, says, you know what, I'm going to use my last chance to make my stamp, spend some money, put some mega projects in, and just blow up what's left of his government, whoever takes it next. They've really kind of run it a little bit, I would say, conservatively. Just said, okay, we're just going to keep it going, steady as she goes, put some money aside, and you guys can spend this as you see fit, as though there's money to be spent.
Yeah, as if. All right, let me move on and talk about what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz. We had Tiff Macklem today, the governor of the Bank of Canada, announced no change to the bank rate. Not a surprise there. But a lot of time and attention paid to, just how unstable things are, given what's going on now in that part of the world. What do you think? What are we looking at here? And has Mark Carney, do you think, handled this as well as he possibly could have?
I think he's ended up in an okay place. Obviously, his early endorsement of it created a lot of flack. I understood why he did that. I even liked it, to be honest with you. I liked it in the sense that he was declarative right out of the gate. And he was declarative around, look, Iran's a bad place run by bad people, and we should be happy about trying to pursue those goals of stopping their ability to exert terrorism. But, I cannot emphasize enough. These are chickens coming home to roost, man. Donald Trump has spent the past 2 years saying to people, you know what, NATO is a joke. Who needs it? It's just a siphon on America's strength. All of our allies are trash. I don't need them. I'm going to blow up their economies. I'm going to raise tariffs on them. I don't care what they think. I'm going to make a deal with them. Then the next day I'm going to break that deal. He spent 2 years doing that. And now, yesterday, the cognitive dissonance on display, where he, in the same breath, says, I didn't ask NATO for help. I didn't ask any of these allies for help. I don't want their help. Why aren't they helping? I'm going to punish them because they're not.
Yeah.
Like, it's just staggering. And here's the thing. If there was a country in the Western Alliance, in the NATO alliance, in the Western world, that wanted to help Donald Trump right now, they would not have the political freedom to do so. And that includes Mark Carney. If Mark Carney decided, for whatever reason, Donald Trump called him up and said, I'm going to give you the sweetest trade deal you could ever imagine. Just secret between you and me. What you have to do is support me in the Strait of Hormuz, and I will give you something 3 months from now. He wouldn't be able to do it. Public opinion is so radically aligned all across the Western world against Donald Trump. And he just does not understand. You know, you can only throw dirt in people's face for so long before they go, you know what? I don't like you. And I don't like anything you like. And if you ask me for something, I will be thrilled to say no. That's a place that Donald Trump has taken America. They're on their flipping own.
So it's difficult to understand where he's going with this, but if you had to speculate, given the situation and given the fact that he's not going to get help from those NATO countries, or at least not most of them anyway, the ones that are significant, how does this play out? I mean, at some point, do you declare victory even though nothing has really changed and just walk away because you need to save face? What happens here? What's the ultimate sort of end game for him?
This is Greenland on steroids. We are going to, I will bet $1,000 how this ends. I'm positive how this ends. Donald Trump can't handle bad news. He can't handle real grief. The only thing he responds to is harm upon himself. So he has a very unpopular war, and it's causing genuine economic distress in the United States, not to mention Canada and elsewhere. So he'll back down. He will back down just like he backed down on Greenland. He said, I want it. I'm going to take it. There's no other answer. And then he backed down. We have the framework of a deal, the ghost of a deal, the breath of a deal, nothing, whatever. Where's that been? So he's going to do the same thing in Iran, only it's so much more destructive, so much more public, so much more obvious. So we're going to end up with a more radicalized, hard to believe, leadership in Iran. They're going to be emboldened. He is going to walk away. And he is going to say that he has won and that he's achieved all his objectives. And he's going to do that because he cannot suffer the pain of oil prices this high. So he's just going to walk away. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know precisely how it will happen, but I guarantee it will happen.
So the play is, I did what I said I would do. We won. It's over. I'm done.
That's right. And everybody that disagrees and everybody that runs an article suggesting otherwise, they're all liars. That's fake media,
news,
blah, blah,
right,
blah.
Right.
Now we're on to the midterm elections, and I'm going to start earnestly attempting to rig them.
Scott, does it go from here to, you read the comment yesterday on Cuba, right, the tough time they're going through, where he actually said, I can do anything I want?
Well, see, he has such a tell. I mean, like my Uncle Dwayne used to say at every Easter when he would have, like, you know, his third Irish coffee, you know, I can take it or leave it. I don't need booze. I can stop drinking any day. I'm just one of those people who can stop drinking automatically. You know what, Uncle Dwayne? You can't stop drinking. You know what, Donald Trump? You actually do not have all the power. And what's happening, Iran has really become a demonstration of Donald Trump's inability to exert his will over everybody. For a year, he could just tell anybody, everybody in the United States, around the rest of the world, and people had to kind of grovel in front of him. And the world has grown tired of it. And they can see that his hand is weakening. And I'm telling you, if you rule by fear, once people think they no longer need to fear you, they rip you to threads. And he's going to be ripped to threads in this next year and a half. You watch.
We'll leave it at that. Scott, always appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
Take good care. Scott Reid. There you go. 517, we're going to take a look at traffic for you, see what's going on right now. Check on the drive with Lauren Glazer. Lauren? All right, thank you very much. It is 5:18. Traffic is brought to you by Vimo Toyota Laval, the single largest dealership group with only one single brand, but that brand is Toyota. Do you really need anything else? That's Vimo Toyota Laval. So look, before we get going here, again, if you're just tuning in, the Quebec provincial budget handed down just about an hour and a half ago, roughly. $8.6 billion deficit. There are different spending issues here. The one thing that's interesting, we talked about this a moment ago, there's a hole left here, if you will, for whoever ends up becoming the new leader. And
I'm Luke Wilson. Join me each week for Film Never Lies. Since retiring from the NFL, I've had a lot on my mind, and now I've got my own show. So if you're tired of lazy takes, if you want honest conversations, join us each week. Film Never Lies, available on all TSN platforms and the iHeartRadio app.